What's up, Ultimate Closers? Oliver Wolf, your master sales coach, coming at you with some sexy content. And so today, what we're going to talk about is nonverbal communication, selling without using words. So more specifically, what we're going to talk about is body language, tonality, and micro expressions. But before that, let's get into the intro. In case you didn't know, when it comes to communication, it's actually not all about the words that you say. In fact, it turns out that only about 7% of communication is determined by the words you say. The rest, about 55%, has to do with your body language, so the things that you do with your body as you speak, like hitting this speaker apparently, and 38% has to do with your voice, so the tonality, the way that you're speaking. Like, do you speak in a totally monotone kind of way, or are you actually excited and lively and really just speaking in the way of the energy you're trying to project? And so that's what we're going to dive into today. By the way, in case you're wondering, this sexy ring right here, fun little alignment story for you, totally off topic. So I had my high school reunion last week, 10-year high school reunion, and I got this ring about a decade ago. However, I lost it, and I had no idea where I don't know how long it's been lost, but it popped up. My dad found it somewhere 1 week before the reunion. So that's pretty wild. Just thought you should know. If you're wondering why I'm wearing this right now, it's because I find it looks pretty cool. But back to the topic. So the first thing that I want to talk about in the areas of communication, I want to start with tonality because it's a little bit less important than your body language. So when it comes to tonality, basically what that's about is, are you staying super monotone and speaking in a totally kind of boring way that even hearing myself do this is driving me nuts. So let's actually take a look at what a monotone interaction can look like, because it's pretty devastating.
So Jess, what is it about your place that you want to get painted? So already you can notice the super boring monotone. It's already just disengaging to hear that as sort of a welcome.
The kids' room and my room as well.
Okay. And what about the kids' room needs to be painted? No excitement, no nothing. It's just
Everything. The walls are just kind of destroyed from playing a lot.
Okay. And then the bedroom. What is it?
I'm just fed up with the colors.
How long have you had those colors?
Probably like 10 years.
So you can just tell, like, obviously in this case, Jess is she's going along with it. But if you were to talk to someone who doesn't know you and that's what you decide to do, is you speak in this sort of super painfully boring way, they're just going to be tuned out, especially if you're doing that for a good 15, 30, 45 minutes of an interaction. You're going to lose that sale, guaranteed.
Or are you actually creating different types of waves of energy, ups and downs and tonalities, and just making it sort of an adventure?
So now let's take a look at a different conversation where we're having more fun with the tonality.
Okay, Jess, so what is it about the house that we're getting painted?
The kids' room and my room as well.
Okay, cool. So the kids' room, so 2 rooms. What is it about the kid room that needs to be painted? Why are we redoing it?
It's destroyed. The
Okay.
kids played it to death.
So notice already, some smiles, some laughs, some up and down. We're raising our tone with questions. We're sort of coming back down. It's much more engaging, adventurous, more fun. Totally. Okay, that's fair. And then when it comes to the bedroom, what are we doing in there? Why is it being changed?
I'm just really bored of the colors. So
Okay, cool. How long have you had the same colors?
about like 6 years.
So again, it's like, this is like a really quick clip, but if you do this kind of an adventurous tonality versus the monotone for an entirety of a conversation or an entirety of a meeting, it's going to make a huge difference on the result of your sales appointment.
And the reason why this is extremely important is that if you have a monotone, the interaction becomes predictable. And as soon as it becomes predictable, like anything, if you know what's going to happen at the end of a movie, you're not nearly as excited to find out what happens because you already know. And so same with the way that you speak. If your tonality is extremely monotone, it becomes predictable and then people become disengaged. And this in sales, and one of the most important things, is to make sure that your prospect or your client or whatever is staying engaged the entire time. And so when it comes to tonality, super simple, right? When you're excited, heighten it, speed it up a little bit. When you're trying to make something a little bit more intense or deep or sorrow-like, maybe you want to get a little bit dark, you can slow it down, make it more methodical. You can really play with this and have a lot of fun with it. And it's, to be honest, one of the things that I love to do. I don't really do it consciously anymore because it's something that I practiced a long time ago, which is really important for you to know too, is that in the beginning, you might have to think about the ups and downs, but it'll become very natural. And so that's tonality in a nutshell. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is body language. So body language is actually a lot easier to read in general, just because people are pretty loud with their bodies. And so that's all really that you're looking for is how are they positioned? What does that mean? And then how do you change that position so that they can open up to what it is you're talking about? So this is what's really important, is that the body language will speak to their level of open-mindedness and their level of engagement and the level of how much they're willing to receive. Now, the thing is, when someone is leaned back, like I said, they're disengaged, they're not really into it, they're literally blocking off their body from what it is that you're trying to say. So you need to try to open them up. So the way to do that is to use what's called mirroring. And so what's great about mirroring is that it's something that we've evolved, which is that we have these mirror neurons in our brain, which copy what it is we see so that we can learn. So we still have these mirror neurons and we can utilize them in sales. You can see that they're cross-armed, you should start cross-armed as well, right? And what you're going to do is you're going to guide them into opening up their arms, into opening up their legs, into opening up their chest, into actually leaning forward, fully leaning forward, because to lean forward and really be like hands on the table is to be the most engaged and open to what you're saying as possible. And so if they're physically open now, then they're going to be actually open to what you have to say.
So let's take a look at an example of body language and mirroring more specifically. So you'll notice taking a seat, Jess right now, super disengaged, really not into what we're doing. I mean, she does smile, but she's got her arms crossed, she's leaned back. And so my job is to mirror my way out of it through the conversation. So as you can see, we're having a conversation, it's pretty casual. Now, right there, notice for the first time, I personally uncrossed my arm throughout the conversation. Now what you'll notice is Jess did too. Yes, this is choreographed, but I promise this is the kind of thing that will happen in your conversation. So first I went from crossed arms to open arms to open her up a little bit, and then boom, here we go. Now I'm leaning forward because I want her engaged. I want her into the conversation. Now again, Jess exaggerated it maybe a little bit too much, but at the same time, this is again what can really happen with your clients.
Now the next thing is similar to body language, but it's a little bit more advanced, and it can be pretty challenging to spot and interpret and so on and so forth, but it can be so instrumental to your success in understanding what's happening in the prospect's mind. So what the next thing is micro expressions. Micro expressions are the smallest, as the name entails, the smallest thing, flick of an eyebrow. They are a nose flare, they are a different kind of breath, a blink. Like there's these tiny little expressions that you can detect happening to tell you what they're actually thinking. Because the fact is, people won't often tell you authentically and transparently what they're thinking. And so one of the things you can do is read them.
All right, so now let's take a look at an example of some micro expressions that can come out, especially again once you get around the price. So for the total of the project, it'll come out to $37.56. Is that something that you can move forward with today? So notice in that one, her reaction once I said the price, right? And you need to make sure that you're paying attention to the face, not to your price. And so she sort of double blinked, even like a bit of an eyebrow. You might have even noticed a bit of a breath there, like sort of an inhale. Like the timing of the inhale is extremely important. If there's an inhale right at the time of you revealing a price or a new piece of information, odds are that new piece of information has made her uncomfortable or has been unexpected. Let's take a look at another one here. $37.56. Is that something that you'd like to move forward with today? So this one's a little less obvious. It's actually it's similar to the one before, but even lighter. So there's still a bit of an eyebrow, still a bit of an eye flicker. But let's take a look at the next one here. $37.56. That's something you can move forward with today? So you might have noticed on this one or the last one also, another thing that can happen is jaw clenching. So again, very subtle, but if you see a sort of a little bit of a muscle sort of twitch here or some kind of like a jaw clench, that's again another indication of what could be happening. And let's take a look at this last one here. $37.56. That's something you can move forward with today?
See, this one is super subtle. All she did was swallow.
And it's really important when you are revealing price or again, when you're revealing some new piece of information that could have a belief or a thought behind it, don't pay attention to what you're presenting. Pay attention to your prospect's face expressions. So this is super powerful, and I can remember a time where I presented, or not even me, sorry, one of the people that I was training and coaching in person, they presented the cost. And when they were presenting the cost, I was watching the husband and wife. And as soon as they said the price, I noticed the tiniest little, like pretty much just that right there, the tiniest little eyebrow flip from the husband. And nonchalant, he shows the price, kind of moves on, and then the wife and the husband, they're both like, oh yeah, that sounds fine. It seemed okay. But I straight up called him for it. I said, hey, you know what? I couldn't help but notice that your eyebrow actually flicked when we said the cost. What is it about the cost that makes you uncomfortable? And he opened up. As soon as he saw that I caught that, he was like, oh wow, interesting. Actually, yeah, you know what? Da-da-da-da-da. All right, Ultimate Closers. So that's about it for nonverbal communication. There are so many things you can look into. You can go deep into the rabbit hole, but if you start implementing just these things, you start becoming aware of these things and acting in a way that opens up your client to be more engaging, more open to what you have to say, then I promise you will start to close more deals. So make sure you hit that like button below if you're on YouTube or on Facebook or whatever you're on right now, and subscribe for more to come your way, and I'll see you in the next video.